Welcome to The Clean Slate with your hosts, Daniel Garza and Carson Phillips, providing you with movie news, reviews, and more. Sit back, relax, and don't forget to go to the concessions to get your popcorn and drinks. For your entertainment, this is The Clean Slate Podcast.
Welcome back to The Clean Slate Podcast. My name's Carson Phillips. That guy over there is Daniel Garza.
What
and
up?
you are you. And this is The Clean Slate Podcast. And yeah, we have another day. I already forgot
Fourth
what
day.
we're on. We're on
Fourth
day
day.
4. Day 4. Yeah, we're not even fourth day. Good Christian rock band.
What?
You remember fourth day? Wait, am I thinking of someone else?
No, you're thinking of Third Day.
Third Day.
First of all.
Shows how much I listen to them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so guys, we're chugging along 31 days of horror here. It's gonna get crazy, so we're gonna take a little break and watch something a little bit more artistic, perhaps a little bit lower budget, perhaps.
This is not
Session
artistic.
9. I think it's
all right,
artistic.
guys.
I'll argue for that.
Okay, great. All right, guys. So, welcome to our video podcast now. For those of you who are listening just to our original form of media, which was audio,
You're missing
glad to
out
have
on
you
these hot
back. But
bars.
yeah, you can totally see our beautiful faces now on YouTube and
Do
anywhere
both.
where you
Get us views on both.
video podcasts. Anyway, guys, so here is the log line for the movie Session 9. Tensions rise within an asbestos cleaning crew as they work in an abandoned mental hospital with a horrific past that seems to be coming back.
I kind of relate to this movie.
It's because that's how I
Just from
felt
the
when
sense,
I was
like-
at your house every single time. I was like,
Whatever,
this
dude.
asbestos-ridden home with this mental...
It was not. No, it's like I used to work in HVAC
Yeah.
at a university, so over the summer it was like empty,
Yeah,
and we'd kill each other usually.
true.
Can you say that word on the?
I don't think so. Not on, like, TikTok.
We'll see if we get. We're not even what's the word?
We're
not
gonna need
making
a
money yet,
strike
so we'll see
before
what
we can even
We'll see what
make
happens.
money. Anyway, guys, so this movie has nobody that you've ever heard of, and then it has Josh Lucas. So pretty crazy, and it had a $1.5 million budget, but it looks like Carson and I could have made a better movie with my Canon.
Bro, okay.
Not a sponsor.
What? I think it's just the time period. They were trying something
It
different.
was
though.
2001.
Because if you compare this to
I mean, okay, I guess, yeah. This isn't...
compare this to anything else coming out in the early 2000s, except for like Blair Witch, because Blair Witch is pretty original.
Yeah.
This is pretty original.
I
It's
think
pretty
Session
daring.
9 needs a remake.
I don't think it does. I like
think
that
it
it has
would
a
be
cult
so
following,
much
and that's it.
cooler if it had a remake. Anyway, okay, let's talk about the plot, and then we'll do likes and dislikes. Lice and dislikes.
Yeah, so basically you have this random Irish dude. I don't know if he's Irish. He's something. Scottish?
I don't know.
In the comments below, if you know accents, he's one of those. Tell me. Tell me which one
Caruso.
it is.
I
But
don't know what that is.
I think that's
I
Irish.
think it's German. I'm just kidding.
He is not. Okay, anyway, that's crazy. But anyways, he has an HVAC. He has a company where they come into buildings and they make it safe to live in or work in.
Yeah.
And so this insane asylum is being turned into like the city building, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And so he ends up bidding on it. He's able to get it through some wheeling and dealing, which kind of reminded me of my dad wheeling and dealing as a construction guy. But the rest of this doesn't remind me of my dad, to clarify.
Got it.
Tracy, you're innocent. I know you're innocent.
Stop.
But yeah, so they end up creating this deadline for themselves that's almost impossible. And so while they're working in this building, the tensions rise, and you have
Yeah.
like one kid who's afraid of the dark, like deeply afraid of the dark.
That'd be me.
You have one guy who's kind of a control freak, and then our main guy, who knows what he's been up to. He's been doing some weird stuff. We don't know what. And then there's another guy who's obsessed with like lawyer stuff and psychology, and he's kind of a freak, kind of
Yeah.
a bit antisocial, I will say. So there's some of that going on, and then obviously there's murder. You know, we're simple people here on this podcast. If it's a horror film, it's going to have a little bit of murder.
Right, of course. Okay, cool. So likes and dislikes for this movie.
Do you want me to go first, or?
Yeah.
Okay. My biggest like is this isn't necessarily super original, but at the same time, it feels original.
Yeah. Well, 2001. I mean, there wasn't that much going
Yeah,
on.
this was probably crazy. But like just from the camera work's a little weird, and I hated it at first, but then I learned to love it. And I don't know if it was intentional or not, but something about it, like towards the end, disorients you. And I think it does. It builds like this like confusion and stress very well.
Okay.
More than a lot of films I've seen lately that are supposed to be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it holds it consistent to the point where at the end I'm like, I don't know what's happening fully. Like I think I do, but there's aspects of it that are very strange. And I think all of that comes together to make this really unique, intense film. The acting is not great,
Abysmal.
but I think the story and the way they tell it is really fun. And if you're someone who's seen like every horror film, you've seen it all, I think this is another one to add to your list because there's something unique here. And like it does play the whole psychology angle in an interesting way. I think the final scenes are kind of cool. There's a couple, I mean, I would have shot that differently, but
yeah, for sure.
But there's a couple moments where I was like, ooh, eyeball stuff. So if you get triggered by penetration of the eyeball like I do.
Yeah.
There's literally 3 moments where I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And I was just yelling, and Alyssa was in a meeting and just yelling in the other room, like, oh, gosh.
Oh, my, stop it, the horror.
Yeah, the ending does sell this movie pretty hard for me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil it too much, but without that ending, I think this movie's not that great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I like, similar to what you said, I do like a lot of the things, a lot of the storytelling through the camera work is pretty unsettling. I think a lot of the conversations, too, that they have during their lunch break really set the scene for what's going on in the movie. The only thing I hate about that, on the flip side, is the one guy who is a lawyer who just knows everything.
You ever hear about the satanic panic?
Yeah, exactly. He just knows everything there is to know about this space.
Me.
And it's just an incredible amount of exposition thrown at
it's
you.
Too much.
In like
and then
2
it has
scenes.
nothing to do with the plot, too, because he's
nothing.
like, but that's not real.
Yeah, exactly.
But
then
Israel,
who knows?
Like, what does
like,
the movie say?
All right. So yeah, there is that. I think that the tension building, kind of like what you were saying, is so good in this movie that it really it made me so excited for the ending. However, in classic horror movie fashion, for me,
you don't like the ending?
Was, I felt it could have been so much stronger.
Okay.
I like the chaos of the ending of the movie, like kind of where they find Josh Lucas again, and then the kid who isn't being believed. I loved all of that, and then I did like
that's crazy too that he jumped to that like
right. No, seriously,
extreme so quick. I was like, dude.
But I did like the ending of the story. So the story was good. The execution of it wasn't the best, but the ending of the story kind of gave me like Shutter Island vibes. And I was like, okay, cool. So this was like it transferred. Yeah, so something like that. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I thought it was going to, once I saw the opening scene of it, I was like, oh God, what did we.
I know, I was too. I was like, this is going to suck, dude. Well, because at first it shows that cool shot with the chair, and I was like, that's a cool frame.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool.
That was their money shot,
like,
that, because they used it.
Was this
for
shot on
marketing.
VHS? Like, I don't understand what's happening right now.
Yeah,
I do want to say the score is really good.
Yes, I agree.
They use the one theme a lot. Mm-hmm. They use it a lot, but I would too because it's a good score. Like, it's really nice.
Yeah. So other than a little bit of the storytelling and that last final like compilation of scenes, I really don't actually have that many things that I didn't like about this movie. Like, it is a solid movie. It's dated for sure. I wish there was a couple of more scenes outside of the area or just bigger scenes like of
a nighttime scene.
Yeah.
I wanted like it to be dark at some point.
Yes. So
because the setting is so good. That location is like money, bro.
So ultimately, I think this movie's not scary, and that's kind of what makes it the worst for me in terms of like scare factor. Oh, we forgot to do scare factor for Blob. 10 out of 10.
Let's do Blob is honestly a 10 out of 10 scare factor. Like if I was in those blobby shoes.
Those blobby shoes. Anyway, yeah. So scare factor for this, I would say it was probably a solid 6 until the end.
Bro, I was gonna say 6 too.
That's crazy.
Six.
Stop.
Two
No.
sixes.
626.
Good thing we don't have
Stitch.
a third host. Oh. 616.
Anyway. All right, guys. So, do you have any other dislikes on this movie?
No, I mean, I think this is a fun one. If you can, I mean, did we have to rent this? This is a rental. Huh?
Yeah, this is a rental.
If you can find this on DVD for like $5, or if you can
Do
rent
it.
it, or find it through any other means that you can,
It was on Netflix.
I think it'd be
for the
cool.
longest
I think
time.
it's a fun watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that pops up from time to time, and it has a good poster.
Yeah,
So-
it does. It really does.
So give it a watch. It's a good, like, I think it leans more psychological horror than full blown
Yeah.
gross out slasher. So
You know,
this,
actually-
this one might actually please a lot of people.
Last note that when he's listening to all the sessions, those were pretty terrifying. Like,
Oh yeah, it's scary.
if
The
we
voice
could get
acting
some
in that is
cutscenes
excellent.
back to that, that would have been crazy scary.
The audio is going to be scarier than the scene.
True.
I do hate when he pulls the money out of the wall. I don't know why that scene did not work for me.
Oh, I love that scene because it showed like the corruption of the house that he was like, oh, and he, you know, right? He was
I
just
guess.
that's what I thought.
Do a double feature of this and Grave Encounters.
Anyway, guys. Okay, so that is the end of session 9, day 4 of our 31 days of Halloween, guys. We are trucking along. We got a bunch more movies coming your way, and they get way scarier from here on out. Well, I think maybe one more movie, and then they get way scarier. So if you're looking to strap in for some scary movies, we did not forget
Gorehounds.
about you. Yes, we have them all. So stay tuned, guys, and
But also,
welcome
more kid
again
movies.
to our video podcast.
That's a clean slate.